Yeah. So today's shloka, Bhagavad Gita, chapter 5, shloka number 25. Labhante brahma nirvanam rishaya kshina kalmashaha छिन्नद्वैधायतात्मानः सर्वभूतहिते रताः लभन्ते ब्रह्मनिर्वाणम् ऋषयः क्षीणकल्मषाः छिन्नद्वैधायतात्मानः सर्वभूतहिते रताः लभन्ते ब्रह्मनिर्वाणम् ऋषयः क्षीणकल्मषाः छिन्नद्वैधायतात्मानः सर्वभूतहिते रताः. Please recite after me. लभन्ते ब्रह्मनिर्वाणम् ऋषयः क्षीणकल्मषाः छिन्नद्वैधायतात्मानः सर्वभूतहिते रताः 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 Word to word meaning and translation by His Grace Shri A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Labhante, achieve, Brahma Nirvanam, liberation in the Supreme. Rishayaha, those who are active within. Kshina Kalmashaha, who are devoid of all sins. Chinna, having torn off. Dvaidhaha, duality. Yata Atmanaha, engaged in self-realization.
Engaged in
Engaged in
self-realization.
self-realization.
Sarvabhuta,
Sarvabhuta.
Sarvabhuta,
for all living entities.
For all
for
living
all
entities.
living entities.
Hite,
Hite.
They
in welfare work.
In
in
welfare work.
welfare,
Rataha,
Rataha.
Rataha,
engaged.
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 Those who are
Those
Who
who
are
are
beyond the dualities
beyond
beyond the
dualities.
dualities
that arise from doubts,
That
that
arise
arise
from
from
doubts.
doubts,
whose minds are engaged within,
whose
Whose
minds
minds are
are
engaged
engaged
within.
within,
who
Who
are always busy working
always
who
busy
are
working
always busy working
for the welfare of
for the
for the
welfare of
welfare of
all living beings
all
all
living beings.
living beings,
and who are free from
And
and
who
who
are
are
free
free
from
from
all sins,
all
all
sins.
sins,
achieve liberation
Achieve liberation
liberation
in the Supreme.
in
in
the
the
Supreme.
Supreme.
So in the purport, it says, only a person who is fully in Krishna consciousness can be said to be engaged in welfare work for all living entities. When a person is actually in the knowledge that Krishna is the fountainhead of everything, then when he acts in that spirit, he acts for everyone. The sufferings of humanity are due to forgetfulness of Krishna as the supreme enjoyer. So you see here, after speaking so many things about seeking pleasure within, now Krishna is speaking about some symptoms of a person who is seeking pleasure. So he says Chinnadvaidha, means one whose all doubts are removed, and Yatatmanaha, whose mind is engaged within, means always engaged in Krishna consciousness. Sarva Bhuta Hitevrataha, who is busy working for the welfare of all living beings, who is free from all these sins. Only such person can attain liberation, the Brahma Nirvana. So when we forget Krishna, we are into Maya and do sense gratification. With this enjoying tendency, suffering will follow. Now, suffering is a byproduct of our enjoying tendency. So to act in such a way so that we can revive our Krishna consciousness, or we revive this consciousness that Krishna is our supreme well-being. He is our father. He is the supreme controller. He is the best. So what is the greatest welfare activity? To make someone aware that Krishna is the supreme. We need to remember Krishna always. The moment you forget, Maya comes in. So the more you remember, the more you re-establish your lost relationship with the Supreme Lord, then suffering can end. So example here, Prabhupada gives of a crying child. Now suppose a child is crying, what do? We try to feed him something, give some chocolate, right? Some toy. So for the time being, the child may be engaged in that and he would have forgotten, starts playing with the toy, and for some time he is relieved. But again, when he gets bored, or after a while, when he again remembers his agony, again he will start crying. So even a lost child, an orphan, how long can the society help, or we can help? We can provide some food, some clothes, some water, maybe a day, 2 days, 3 days, but not permanently. But what is the best thing here? The best welfare activity here will be to take this child, find out who his parents are or where they stay, and just connect this child to his parents. And there ends the miseries of the child. So here it is being said that whatever welfare activity one is doing, without Krishna consciousness is not very fruitful. That's not the permanent solution. So many people are suffering in this world. If someone can connect them to his eternal Father, that will be the greatest welfare activity. And then the person who is doing this, who is connecting this person to the Supreme Father, in turn is also benefited. He also enjoys the bliss. So the best welfare activity is to connect the jivas to the Supreme Father, and he will take care. So we should first be convinced that Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He is the controller of all controllers. He is the cause of all causes, our eternal friend, well-wisher, eternal Father. Only then you can preach others. So if one is convinced, then he can preach with conviction and tell the same to the others. This conviction is not sentimental. It's not just emotional, but with a strong philosophical understanding. And this philosophical backing should come from the study of Vedic scriptures. So the base has to be the scriptures, not just some mundane statements by anyone. So humanitarian work is good, but not the best. Now, why? Because it leads to providing some material things to the sufferer, give some temporary relief, but not the permanent relief. Now, permanent relief from suffering is connecting the person back to Krishna. Only then they will be uplifted. And connecting to Krishna will bring happiness, permanent bliss. So the temporary relief of body and mind is not satisfactory, but when the mind is engaged in Krishna consciousness or in Krishna, it gives permanent happiness. So what is the best welfare activity? Is to connect the Jivatma to his eternal Supreme Father. We'll just see the last line in the purport. Yeah. So when a man is fully conscious of his relationship with Krishna, he is actually a liberated soul, although he may be in the material tabernacle. So though you are in the material world, though you are engaged in sense gratification, but the moment you understand this truth and you're conscious of your relationship with Krishna, that's the moment of liberation. So even if spiritually you are not completely liberated, but you are considered a liberated soul, because the moment you connect to Krishna, you know that one day or the other you are sure to be liberated.